to Victorian England. We're playing Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective. It's the Baker Street Irregulars set. This is a cooperative game where our players must solve a case, a mystery. I'll read out the passage which sort of introduces them to the story. They have access to a map of London. They have access to a newspaper of the day, a directory of names, and some experts who they can call upon. Based on that, they have to read the casebook and go, I think there's the baker on this street is the one that I want to talk to. Okay, that's in Southwest 34. They open the book. If there's a passage there, they can read that out, and that will hopefully advance the case as they try to solve the mystery. Once they're ready, they can, Sherlock will sort of do his parlour scene, and we'll see how our guests have gone, how our players have gone solving the mystery. We are case 1. It is the Curzon Street kidnapping. It's Thursday, November 19th, 1885. So through the early 1880s, the Baker Street Irregulars, which are a group of orphaned street urchins who help Sherlock Holmes, including their leader Wiggins, were occasionally summoned by the consulting detective Sherlock Holmes to help him track down a suspect or obtain the kind of knowledge about London's dark underbelly that agile street children are particularly apt at acquiring. But it's not until a day in November in 1885, the regulars had their first chance to demonstrate the true extent of their deductive skills. I wonder what he's up to, remarks Wiggins. Shortly after that, Miss Hudson shows a tall, dark-haired woman of middle age into the room. She has a kind face that suggests an underlying calmness, but there bears an anxious demeanour of someone who has endured recent turmoil. She takes a breath and smiles. It is clear that she feels she has come to a safe place. Very well, Dr. Watson.
I must
you may
talk
have read
to you
something
about
in
the
the
diamond.
newspapers.
Don't you worry
My
about
name
that,
is Wendy
Lady Margaret.
Sturton. A few days ago,
£50,000, and you tell me not to worry.
Ah, said Wiggins. The
My
governess
son
of the Train family. Yes, she replies. I've been governess to them for just over a year. I look after their children, Duncan and Clarence, and take care of other household matters. I took up the position when I moved to London from Derbyshire, where I was governess to Lord and Lady Snowd. The Trains have been good to me, and I adore the children. Everything seemed wonderful until recently. But I digress, and must return to the point of my visit. On the afternoon of the 16th of November, I was on an errand to obtain some more laudanum from the chemist, as little Duncan was ill with a cough. I thought we had some in the house, but when I checked the bottle, it was empty. I was turning off Curzon Street onto Half Moon Street when I heard a carriage come close beside me. Suddenly, there was an arm about me and something over my mouth, so I could not scream. I was pushed into the carriage and then something over my head so I could not see. We can see that recounting the events is of some difficulty for her, but she retains her composure remarkably well. I was lifted up and placed on a seat, and a voice whispered to me, "Sorry if this was a little rough, it'll be easier now." I remember the phrasing because it felt strange, you understand, in that context. I do not know how long I was in the carriage. It seemed to be an age. But I could hear the busy sounds of the city most of the time.
Within the sound of Bow bells.
I was led out of the carriage to a building, then tied to a chair.
In the shadow of Tower Bridge is the carpenter's shop of Mock and
I'm sure
Son,
there were 2 people with me in that room.
makers.
There I stayed overnight. I could not sleep, and at times there were movements and sounds that indicated to me there was someone else in the room. A fire was kept burning, and occasionally I could smell tobacco. Though I'm not a smoker myself. So when I asked, I could not give the police any indication of the brand being consumed. I asked why I was being kept and what they wanted. After I had asked perhaps 20 times, my captor became sick of my questioning. And finally, I received an answer. "We're just waiting for the payment, miss. Then you can go. Be patient." Well, Dr. Watson, it is hard to be patient when one is tied to a chair and held captive in some unknown place. But I told myself there was nothing I could do. And so I waited. At one time, a soft voice spoke to me and asked if I was in need of anything. I think it may have been a woman's voice, but I cannot be sure. I asked for water and was duly given some. Eventually, on what I took to be the next day, I heard movement and whispering. Then a man said loudly, "They're not going to pay. Let's release her." I was taken back to the carriage. The sound of the city quickly returned, and shortly afterwards, I was told to step out onto the street. I did so, and it was a few moments before I realised my captors had gone. Some people found me and unbound my hands and removed my blindfold. I saw I was in a small alley near Stratton Street, not far from the spot where I was taken. The police interviewed me, and I told them everything I have told you. That, I hoped, was the end of it, and the police certainly thought as much. But the problem is, Dr. Watson, the police have not caught the kidnappers, and I fear they have ceased their search. I've tried to move on from the incident, but I cannot. I always thought of myself as an independent woman. I grew up near Buxton in Derbyshire, and I would spend my mornings walking over the majestic hills of that county. Now I get where I can from the London parks, but at this time of the year, they're not frequent in the early mornings, which is when I have my leisure time. I know the policemen who work in the parks, which gives me some degree of security, but in some of the areas I walk, I hardly ever see another soul. What if the kidnappers come back for me again? I need to know that I am safe. Miss Sutton said, Wiggins, before you begin this narrative, you suggested that something had changed for worse in the Train household. Can you tell me what that was? I do not see how it can have anything to do with my kidnappings, but the atmosphere in the house has changed. Miss Train has been kind to me, a welcoming and peaceful soul since I began working for her. But this summer she became more distant, occasionally overcome with bouts of melancholy. Around the same time, Duncan's cough came back, and Dr. Richards thought it could be an infection. Miss Train loves her family, her children dearly, and each time Duncan is ill, she takes care of him. I wonder if that has contributed to her sadness. Thank you, Miss Stutton. It may mean nothing, but as Mr. Holmes says, any slight detail can be important. Speaking of Holmes, where is he? Asked Tinker, another the regulars. I don't know, said Watson, but perhaps we should begin the investigation ourselves. I'm sure you have all learned something of Holmes' methods over the years you've worked for him. What do you say, Wiggins? Are you and the regulars ready to tackle a mystery? Wiggins looks at us and we nod, eager to get started. Good. And as Holmes says, the game is afoot. With that introduction done, I now turn to our players who have some information and they have to try and figure out where to go next.
Well, I noticed that the place she was near when she was kidnapped was the chemist. I thought that might be a good
place to start.
Yeah. Looking for clues.
I think so.
Yeah.
See if anyone has seen anything or noticed anything.
So what chemists are there in the
We've got
anything in the southeast segment?
Southeast segment. Leith and Ross, 85, southeast.
85.
Just in the southeast. Going by the directory, because everything else is either southwest or elsewhere.
Should we just go and...
I think let's have a chat to
I
the
don't think
chemist.
she made it to the chemist, but we can always go and have a look.
We can always have a look. I think
and
that's a place to start.
So 85 southeast.
85 southeast is the chemist.
All right. There was a gent who sold us dodgy toothpaste, but I don't recall his name. Try the place near Southwark Bridge. I think they'll remember him. I mean, that doesn't sound like a very good lead.
It doesn't sound like an amazing lead, no.
No.
Who is she the governess for?
The Train family.
Yep.
Would they be worth speaking to?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Let's go talk to the Train family.
Kenneth Train and Sally Train.
They both live the same place?
No, they are at two different places. Sally Train, 75 southwest, and Kenneth Train, 61 northwest.
We just pick one of them. And
Yeah,
go
Let's
to
pick
there.
75.
75.
Let's do
75
there.
southwest.
Very good
Okay.
place to start.
75 southwest. Okay. And the door is answered by a stocky man holding a clipboard and a pen. Could we speak with Mrs. Train? Asked Wiggins. I assume you're not acquaintances of hers, the man replies, and you're evidently unaware that she has died. Indeed, sorry to hear that, said Wiggins, removing his cap as he does so. And who do we have the pleasure of addressing? Mark Baldwick. I work for her brother, who's in charge of the sale of the house. And can we speak to her brother? Unlikely. He keeps to himself, but you can try if you like. He lives at 62 Basil Street, southwest. Thank you, Mr. Baldwick. I think that's the wrong one.
Okay.
Should we check out the other one?
Well, Kenneth Train is 61 northwest.
61 northwest, okay.
Kenneth Train is a stocky, balding man in his early 40s. The police have the note we received, he says. It was found on the doorstep under a rock at 5 p.m. on 16th November and asked me to leave £2,000 under the Putney Bridge at dawn. It was absurd. We called the police, but I believed it must be a prank. I could not pay such a ransom. I did not tell the police at this time, but I contacted my uncle Lawrence to inquire about funds he may have available. My uncle suggested he may be able to assist, though not for the entire sum. In any case, I did not receive that reply from him until after Miss Sturton had been returned to us. Could you tell us about Miss Sturton? Miss Sturton has been a wonderful addition to our household. There is little that seems to shake her. Indeed, she is one of the most independent women I have ever met. What kind of things does she do in your household?
No one's above suspicion.
My wife can best answer that
Lady
for you,
Margaret.
Kenneth replies. I
She
will
might
fetch
have a-
her. A moment later, he re-enters the room with a short woman in her mid-30s with dark rings under her eyes, like she has not slept. Letitia Train looks worried by our presence and responds to our questions but seems uncomfortable, occasionally fidgeting or scratching while she talks. Wendy cares for the children and conducts other errands as necessary. Each day she arises early, around 6, and sees to the children, dressing, breakfast and such. She takes her free time between 7 and 9 a.m. when the tutor, Mr. Edgar Newmarch, comes to deliver lessons. Wendy normally takes a long walk in the park, I believe. How she bears the cold, I do not know. She comes back at 9 a.m, helps to prepare luncheon, then does an English or a Bible lesson with the children, followed by household tasks and running errands. Then comes to our evening meal, and soon after she puts the children to bed. And was that her schedule on the day she was kidnapped? Yes. In the afternoon, Duncan could not eat his lunch because he was feeling unwell, so one of her errands was to get some laudanum from the chemist, which is when it happened. I thought the police had dealt with this, Kenneth. They've not caught anyone, he replies. These fellows may find something new. Wiggins smiles at Letitia Train. I don't wish to pry into personal matters, Mr. Train, says Wiggins, but Miss Sturton said your wife had been in low spirits. Do you know what may be the cause? I think you do wish to pry into personal matters, Mr. Wiggins, he replies, but I will make allowances because I know the goal of your inquiries is a worthy one. I will also be frank. I do not think my wife's mood is in any way related to the affair you are investigating.
I don't know
She
what
was
this is all
taken
about,
ill
but
for
I
a
do know
time.
that I
Then
never
Duncan's
seen this
coughing problem
gentleman before in my
began
life.
again,
We
and
shall
then
have
my
to
mother
ask you to remain
died.
in your compartment
Even
until we
excluding
reach
the
Edinburgh.
kidnapping,
Inspector
this
Lestrade.
year has not been
Oh,
easy.
telegram for you, sir.
What we've gotten from that, obviously a bit more about the ransom note.
And the money was meant to be left at Putney Bridge.
Putney Bridge as well.
So that could be a good place to...
Definitely a good place to have a look at.
Putney Bridge, will that be in our
Putney
directory of
Putney Bridge.
bridges? Also could be easy to find if it's one of the main ones.
Not bridges.
What about Edgar Newark? I wrote that name down, but I can't remember.
Oh, that was the tutor.
The tutor.
Yeah,
Tutor.
I believe if it.
They might have some insight.
Edgar Newmark.
Newmarch.
Newmarch. I'm reading it, I'm just not saying it. 75 Northwest.
Oh, so he's nearby as well.
Okay, 70 is right here.
So he lives not
perfect.
too
Yeah.
far away. Oh, yes.
All right. So, Edgar Newmarch is a powerfully built man in his 30s. As he speaks, he puffs on a cigarette and runs his fingers
Was
through
he
the
with
light blonde
Holmes and
hairs of
Watson
his
in the luggage
moustache.
van?
That day,
No.
I arrived as usual,
Good.
a little before 7 a.m. I normally speak with Miss Sturton as she prepares to go out, dressing in her warm winter coat and a sturdy pair of boots. She said she was taking her usual walk to Hyde Park. I often told her to be careful walking alone in such areas, especially at this time of year when the light arrives late. It is ironic that, in the end, her encounter with danger occurred on a city street in broad daylight. Once she left, I'd settled the children down to their lessons. Duncan was coughing and finding it difficult to concentrate. 2 hours later, Miss Sturton returned and I left. She was in good spirits on returning from her walk and nothing seemed amiss.
Okay.
I guess that tells us which park. So it's probably not that helpful looking at Hyde Park, or do you think there's any point going there and having a look?
I think it doesn't hurt. Just,
What else have we got to go on at the moment, I suppose?
Just
Well, I
because
guess-
this lets us retrace her steps. a
Yeah,
little
that's
more
true.
as well.
First touched
We
by
enter
the
Hyde
fingers
Park
of the
from
humble captain.
southeast. The path
It would have been
underfoot
better
gleams
had
with
it
a
never
light
been
frost,
found.
And we wrap our coats and scarves tight around us to ward off the cold. All right, so where in the park do we wish to go?
Let's do the lodge.
Yeah, and I feel like the police station at this stage would be too obvious a choice. Lodge. The Keeper's Lodge is an imposing building flanked with columns of white stone. We knock at the door, but no one answers. Peering through a window, we can see some desks scattered with papers, but no sign of any people. We see a dining room with a wooden table and chairs set in front of a grand fireplace.
Fireplace. It's two things that were described by her.
Yeah.
So it could potentially be where she was held.
It could be a
red herring
location
as well. Can we look
to check out. Yeah.
Yeah, let's have a look.
Royal Humane Society, then I'll go one down. A pale man in a
He's just
dark
got off the
suit
train.
emerges,
He
asking if
couldn't
he can be of any
He
help.
couldn't.
We
But
ask
he
him about
has.
Miss Sturton. Oh, I know, Miss Sturton, he responds, with a stutter in his speech. She walks in the park often. She on occasion stops to talk and asks me about our society's history. Which path would she normally take? Asks Wiggins. The man points northwards, past the police house and by the old gunpowder magazine. She often did not stick to the paths and would walk amongst the trees, even in the isles.
Once
So
outside,
she
we
walks
immediately hailed a
past the
cab,
police house and the old
and I began to tell Holmes what I knew of the case.
Is it worth stopping in with the police station to see if maybe they
Just
think
to
like
see.
something has come back into the
I think it might
into
also
the area?
might also be worth.
checking with Lestrade.
Yeah, well, I'm wondering if we went to Lestrade, he could just tell us all the places he's been
All the
and
goss.
everything he knows.
Would you like to check in with the police station first and then we can
Yeah,
do
well,
that?
let's quickly
All right.
check the police station. Yeah.
Just to see. So, police station. A lone policeman at a desk introduces himself as Constable Tyrrell. Wendy, Miss Sturton, comes by here on occasion, he says in response to our questions, although she prefers walking away from the paths and the trees around the gunpowder magazine. Whenever she has come by, I think, and I hope I am not immodest in saying this, that she is always pleased to find me on duty. If I have the time, I'm very glad to sit and talk with her a while, and I believe we both enjoy each other's company. What kind of things would you talk about? About the park, about things she had seen on her walks, about the matters of the day. We've also discussed the changes that have occurred over the years, from the creation of the Serpentine to the new police house. How do the changes in the park happen? Asks Watson. Who makes the decisions? Various people. Simon Pinckney from overseas building operations. The Royal Keeper of Hyde Park is Sir Colin Pickwick, though he is rarely here and chooses not to reside in the Keeper's Lodge. And Sir Colin's son and daughter, Patrick and Grace, help him manage park affairs. What shifts were you around 16th of November when she was kidnapped? Tyrrell's expression darkens. That was a strange incident, was it not? That week I was working the afternoon shifts, 12 till 7, and Constable Ponsford was working the morning shifts, 6 till 12. As I recall, I had asked to switch with Ponsford for that week, but he was adamant that he keeps the morning shifts. Thank you, Constable. Circle the letter L.
Ooh.
So something in that is relevant.
Okay. What about the guy who lives in the Keeper's Lodge but is not usually there? Because we suspect the lodge might be where she was kept.
And also, Patrick and Grace, the children, like she did say that she thought there was a man and a woman involved. Because she thought she heard a woman's voice at some point.
And then I suppose as well, this other constable who refused to switch.
Maybe he was deliberately ignoring something that was going on. So what's his name, that constable?
So the constable is Constable Ponsford.
Ponsford.
I think if we talk to the constable, he's just going to lie to us.
Yes.
But maybe it'll be, like maybe he'll let things slip, or he'll be so obvious in his lie that we'll be like, he's lying.
Yes, or he'll something that later will contradict and we'll go,
Yeah. It's 26.
26
Southwest. Okay.
Southwest.
Here we go. Constable Ponsford has an oval face and a bushy brown beard. He answers the door, he removes the smoking stub of cigar from his mouth, and he pushes it into an overflowing ashtray on a sideboard. Next to the ashtray is an open green box full of expensive-looking cigars. We are working with Sherlock Holmes and Inspector Lestrade, said Wiggins, and I would like to ask you about Miss Wendy Sturton. Do you know her? Yes, Ponsford replies. I've only spoken to her a couple of times. My colleague, Constable Tyrrell, has conversed with her regularly. A report stating she'd been kidnapped went around the stations earlier this week. Why are you asking about her? We're helping with the kidnapping investigation. We were told you were on shift in Hyde Park Police House on the morning of November 16th. Well, Ponsford pauses and thinks. Yes, I was. And did you see Miss Sturton that day? We understand she used to walk by there most mornings. Did she? He pauses, thinking again. And then something seems to occur to him. For a brief moment, his eyes widen before his expression settles back into a stern composure. Sorry, I don't remember. He continues. I'm not sure if I can be much help. You must excuse me. I have paperwork to file. That was strange, said Watson as we walk away. He was suddenly keen to be rid of us. That's
Was
so
that
sus.
that we said?
Say again? What did
Did we suggest that he was on shift in the morning and then he agreed?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. He said, yes, I was.
So he was on shift, at which point did his eyes widen?
And he also smokes cigars.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I suspect that he's
He may have.
Involved.
eyeballs deep in this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Colin Pickwick,
Colin Pickwick.
58 Southwest.
58 Southwest. All right.
We explain that we work for the consulting detective Sherlock Holmes and are ushered into an oak-panelled office. A moment later, a slim man bounds into the room. "I am Sir Colin Pickwick," he exclaims, and gives a slight bow, which we each, with some uncertainty, return. "How can I be of help?" "Well, Sir Colin," begins Wiggins, "we are investigating a kidnapping, and there may be a connection to Hyde Park. Could you tell us about your role as
The old
Cooper?"
trout is
Sir
the only
Colin
one without an
snorts.
alibi.
"My
Yes,
role
we
as
feel
Keeper
you're
of Hyde
approaching the
Park
whole
involves
thing from the wrong
overseeing
angle."
everything, and it is tedious. My son and daughter manage much of it for me, as if I allowed it to occupy more than a jot of my time, I would have died of boredom by now. My God, he's not invested. They even gave me a house, you know. Well, I have this place and I'm happy with it, so I let Grace and Patrick use the lodge as a base from which to manage park affairs. I do still make some high-level management decisions. Who is it that was kidnapped? Wendy Sturton,
Will
a
give me
governess.
great pleasure
Do you
to
know
attend
her?
to Mr. Holmes
No, the name is not
personally.
familiar. Where will
Easter,
we find
there's
your son
yours.
and daughter? You'll find them here, Sir Colin tells me.
Patrick and Grace, there are some gentlemen here who work for a consulting detective. I'm sure they will find the whole thing quite amusing. As the butler leaves, Sir Colin rises. "I'm afraid you must excuse me," he says, grinning. "I have an appointment with a bottle of scotch in the next room." He's only been gone a moment when a young man and woman enter. Like his father, Patrick Pickwick exudes excess energy,
Him doing
rubbing
the
his hands in his
questioning,
eyes,
looking under the seat
and
cushions for
as his
diamonds.
eyes move across each
What the
of us.
more we're through, we do now.
Grace, in contrast,
You do it
stands
better
quite
myself.
still.
Why
There's
don't you,
something
fella?
lively about her
Huh?
expression. They both stare at
I
us
think
for
I
a
will.
moment, as if we are an
Probably find
exhibit
out-
in a zoo. "Do you chaps really work for a private detective?" asks Patrick. When we answer in affirmative, he grins and his sister claps her hands. "How exciting," she says. "Is he coming too?" "He might be," says Wiggins evasively. "But you could be of great help to him and us if you answer our questions." "Patrick," she says, adopting a serious expression, "we need to help." Patrick opens a small green box on the desk. He removes 2 cigars, handing one to his sister and taking one for himself. "What do you do in terms of managing the park?" asks Wiggins. "Everything," Patrick responds. "We spend much of our time in there." "Mr. Wiggins." "What a delightful name," exclaims Grace. Patrick smiles. "Mr. Wiggins." The park's affairs quickly bored my father, and he began transferring his responsibilities to us. Well, initially to me. At that point, Grace was still gallivanting. "Gallivanting? Really, Patrick?" Grace laughs. "I was abroad. My husband owned plantations, and I travelled with him to some of the most curious places. Have you ever been to the West Indies, Mr. She smiles broadly. "Wiggins?" "No, ma'am," replies Wiggins, visibly embarrassed at the amusement his name is causing. "Did you know Miss Wendy Sturton?" "No," responds Patrick. "Who is she?" "A governess who was kidnapped this week." "Kidnapped?" exclaims Grace. "How exciting! Like something from a penny dreadful." "Yes," responds Wiggins. "Miss Sturton walked regularly in Hyde Park, as do hundreds of people, Mr. Wiggins," says Patrick. "We do not know them all. Our dealings are with the workforce rather than the public visitor." "Very well," says Wiggins. "Thank you for your help." Circle the letter F. Was there anything else in this passage of writing that, because we've circled a letter, so I feel like
There's something relevant.
yeah.
Well, the son, I think it was also cigar using.
Yep.
Yeah.
They both had cigars. Right, should we check out the gun magazine?
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
go back to
Like
95.
95.
Northwest 95. Gunpowder magazine. Do you want to do this one?
Yeah.
It's quite a long one.
As we approach the magazine, Watson explains what such a building is for. It is a gunpowder store. We follow Watson with some trepidation towards the magazine. It is a hexagonal building with no windows and a very sturdy looking door which is locked. Next to the door are the words Gunpowder Magazine, carved in the stone, and ivy creeps up to the building's midpoint. "This looks old," observed Wiggins. "Is it still used?" "I think not," says Watson. "I'd say it was built at least a century ago. I see no sign of any guards." "But someone has visited," says Wiggins. "There are many shallow wheel tracks coming from the west. It looks like a small cart has made regular trips here over the past few months. He turns around and takes a few steps. And over here are men's footprints and a set of more recent wheel marks, wide and deep. A large wagon came to the door and then turned and went back the same way. And what's this? He picks something up from the ground near the door of the magazine. Looks like an expensive brand, he says, holding up his cigar for us all to see. It is almost complete, but the end is charred, indicating it has been lit and briefly smoked. From the state of it, it must have lain in the dirt for a few days. And I reckon this place must be out of use, Wiggins continues, tucking the cigar into his shirt pocket, unless whoever smoked this doesn't know what happens when you mix cigars and gunpowder. Circle the letter C.
Expensive brand, that to me says the Sun more than it says the cop. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so who haven't we spoken to?
I mean, if it's the people that we're currently looking at, I would think they probably had their own.
Urchin. We still haven't tracked down Uncle Lawrence or Putney Bridge.
Could the criminologist, if he's analysing substances, does tobacco count as one of those?
It's worth a try.
I think so.
22 Southwest. We do have a 22. All right. I have met this Mr. Murray once before, says Watson, as we arrive at the criminology laboratory. An insightful fellow, if a little eccentric. We enter the laboratory to find an old man hunched over a desk, studying a bowler hat and a dead pigeon
Don't let me discourage you,
with
are
a
you?
magnifying glass.
Why
He
don't you
looks
try
up
this
as we
one?
approach.
You think
He
I'd better?
peers at us
Yes,
through
of course.
wisps of unkempt white hair.
right.
I know you, he says, pointing at Watson, a medical man and a friend of Mr. Holmes. You are correct, Mr. Murray. I am Dr. Watson, and these are some other friends of Holmes who go by the name of the Baker Street Irregulars. Murray studies us intently. What a fascinating collection of misfits, he says. Thank you, Mr. Murray, says Wiggins, deciding to take the comment as a compliment. I'm Wiggins, and we're here to see if you can tell us anything about these kidnappings. Kidnappings? Plural or just the one? Well, firstly, we have notes which you can see here. So we have, there's two here, so kidnappings in the plural. These are the ransom notes from the looks of it. So there's one for the Miss Sturton. We have Ms. Sturton leave £2,000 in a sack on the north bank of, we didn't find the Putney Bridge, did we?
Putney Bridge.
Under the new Putney Bridge at dawn tomorrow, and she will be returned to you unharmed.
Yep.
The other one, we have Mary. So, yeah, don't know who Mary is. Leave £2,000 in a sack under the first arch of Richmond Bridge at dawn. On 1st September, and she will be returned unharmed.
Did we have those notes or did he have them?
He's got them. I think.
He had them.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So there is one more thing. Some bright young officer stationed at the train's house thought to take a sample of mud from Miss Sturton's shoes when she returned after being freed. I can't remember his name, but he must have learnt something from your Mr. Holmes. I know Holmes takes an interest in exactly those kinds of details, so I sent a description of the chemical composition of the soil on to him. Lestrade wasn't interested. Do you have a circled C? We do. If not, leave Mr. Murray. If we do, which we do, read on. How curious that it is only partly smoked, says Murray, when we show him the cigar. And this looks like an expensive brand. A tobacconist would be able to tell you more.
More tobacconists.
And yet,
Not wrong area.
More
In
tobacconists.
another area.
clearly,
We did try. We did
yes.
All right.
try. So we should visit one of the tobacconists maybe
Let's-
in the rich area of town. All right, should we try that?
Yeah.
Yep. 20 WC.
There is a 20 WC, and there's
It's
a.
right next to the Strand. That's rich.
Oh,
Strand
yeah.
is rich.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you have a circled C? If not, you do not find anything useful, but we do, so.
Okay. All right. This is a very expensive cigar. We do not stock this brand, although I imagine Amber and Co. do.
Okay.
35.
That's all they said.
35 WC is Amber and Co.
All right, well, we're going to go there.
Yeah.
Do you have a circled C?
We do.
If not, you do not find anything. Okay. The man behind the counter at Amber & Co. examines the partly smoked cigar found in Hyde Park. We do sell cigars like this, he said, but because of the very high costs, sales are limited. These cigars are rare and subject to a very high import tax. West Indies tobacco wrapped in banana leaf.
Oh, the tropical. Yeah.
Could you perhaps tell us the names of anyone who buys these cigars? Asks Wiggins hopefully. A few people have a regular order with us, he says, glancing down at a list behind the desk. The names here are Sir Francis Clarendon, Oswald Mason, and Stephen Croust. But many other gentlemen purchase these from us, and I'm afraid we have no record of those transactions.
What was the first name? Sorry.
Clarendon.
Yeah, Francis Clarendon, Oswald Mason, and Stefan Croust.
Okay.
So no one who we already suspect.
No one who we already suspect.
We could check them out,
We could consider
or
checking them out.
we
yes.
could also,
Have shared with anyone.
yeah. Is there anything in the paper that we should
That's
have a look
what
at
I'm-
as well? What are the headings? Oh, this editor to the Times. This is about Hyde Park.
Okay.
Shall we read on?
It's not lighted.
Shall I read this?
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
read that whole section out.
Just in case.
It's
you
about-
watch
it's
it.
about
You
Hyde
watch
Park.
it be nothing.
Completely irrelevant.
So, sir, I must raise two issues which currently mar the otherwise charming spectacle of Hyde Park. The state of this area after dark is known, must be known, to all who have the misfortune to make a shortcut across it after nightfall. The reason is simple. It is not lighted. Applications have been made over and over to the proper authorities, but although we are spending imperially 100 millions per annum, there is no money forthcoming to light up Hyde Park. How can one wonder at the danger of this place? They love darkness because their deeds are evil. The very worst of characters, male and female, abound the park. The remedy, as I have said, is simple, the electric light. Furthermore, I maintain that it is not at all pleasing that the habit of smoking has
On the
crept into
train?
Rotten Row.
Scotland
I
Yard,
only
I
wish it
heard.
spurred her to raise the
I
substantial
warned you.
tobacco tax even higher to curb this inexorable rise in popularity. Smoking is now common enough in the park and outright to be abated as a nuisance.
Ought.
Ought to be abated as a nuisance. I am, sir, your obedient servant, Edward Watherson.
I wonder if this whole money thing is about smoking and a tax, and the people who smoke don't want the tax. I don't know. That's just a wild
Yeah.
And
guess.
so
Because it's talked about a lot.
I guess where we're at, so we've got some potential suspects. We've got things that sort of circumstantially tie it, like the cigar, the smoke, the male and the female voice. It's a place that's familiar. Got evidence like a wagon's kind of come and gone. But we're just struggling to find
There's not really any motive.
a link. Yeah.
And the linkage between the victim/victims because there has been a second.
Who do we need to talk to? Maybe we need to talk to one of the experts. Maybe Lestrade or maybe Sherlock could give us.
So we've thought about the carriage tables and gotten not far.
There was nothing.
Lestrade was not interested in these soil samples, but maybe we still talk to them
Maybe you could tell us something about it.
about it, yeah.
Yeah.
13
Southwest. I just feel like we need another lead.
I feel like we've.
Because
Yeah.
other
exhausted.
than following up the lists of like the regular buyers, the cigars, where maybe we can just plan. Inspector Lestrade is a lean, ferret-like man whom we have heard Holmes describe as energetic and tenacious but lacking in imagination. When we arrive, he is busy reading papers on his desk, and he does not see us until we are practically standing over him. Oh, good grief, he says, noticing our presence. Dr. Watson, and you've brought some children with you? Baker Street Irregulars, this is Inspector Lestrade, says Watson. Lestrade, these are the Irregulars, and their leader, Mr. Wiggins. Very good, says Lestrade, but what are you all doing at my desk? He knows Holmes has helped you in the past, Inspector, says Wiggins, and I'm sure you've helped him too. We thought you might be able to help us. We're looking into the kidnapping of Wendy Sturton. She thinks your investigation into the case may have slowed a little. Staff goffs. Well, she is back and safe and sound, is she not? Oh yes, Inspector, replies Wiggins, but the kidnappers didn't get their money and she's worried they may come back. Lestrade shakes his head. The thing is, Wiggins, my lad, kidnapping is a specialised crime and a difficult one to pull off. Do you have any more leads you could share with us? I've sent an officer to see if our informants know anything, but I doubt they will. Mr. Murray has the notes and other items, of course. We've already spoken to, yes.
Yep.
Now I do have to get on with more important matters. Thank you, Inspector, says Wiggins, doffing his cap. 'Twas 'Twere a pleasure to meet you, and I'm sure we'll meet again. Wiggins grins, but from Lestrade's expression, we infer that he does not share our leader's enthusiasm.
Now we have the last name of Mary.
Yeah, we have Dunsworthy.
So we go talk to Mary.
Yes.
All right.
Dunsworthy.
Lady Rosanna Dunsworthy, 43 Southwest.
43 South.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Lady Rosanna Dunsworthy is a tall, grey-haired woman in her 50s who exudes a quiet elegance. She sits in the centre of a large drawing room decorated in oriental silk. She speaks in a soft, calm and precise manner, which combined with the occasional hint of a French accent creates a gentle hypnotic effect. Even Wiggins simply sits in silence and listens.
Just thoughtless of us to let you come in like
Gerald
this.
tells me that you're
An empty
investigating these
compartment.
kidnappings with
Yes,
Mr.
but
Holmes.
I think we'd better
I must tell you that
Don't mind
I've
Lady
forbidden
Margaret,
my daughter
please.
from discussing those frightful events anymore. She's not only had to describe every detail to the police, but since then also endure incessant questioning from all of her friends, for whom the whole affair seemed to hold some morbid fascination. I can recount the maid details to you, and I'm afraid that will have to do. On the evening of the 25th of August, she was heading back from a friend's home in South London when the horses stopped pulling the carriage. It is clear now something was laid on the ground to get into their hooves. The driver alighted to investigate and was struck from behind and left unconscious. A masked man entered the carriage, overpowered her, gagged and blindfolded her. She was transferred to another carriage, though she does not recall how, and driven for some distance. She thinks she was taken outside of London. She was tied to a wooden chair in a room near a fire, which kept burning the whole time. They kept her there. Lady Dunsworthy takes a breath and closes her eyes. For a week, only letting her out of the chair twice a day for her toilet, and to be led around the room like a dog on a lead. They said it was very little to her, except that it would all be well in time. Oh, they said very little to her. I had to send someone to leave money under a bridge in West London, and then they released her. She was driven back to the city, tied and blindfolded, and told to step from the carriage. This she did, called for help, and was duly found. An awful ordeal. Anything I can do to help with those miscreants, be captured is worthwhile. Though, as I've said, I will not make poor Mary recount it all again. I wish you luck. We all bow our heads, and the Watson whispers a deferential thank you before Gerald shows us out. If her daughter's anything like her, said Wiggins, as we head off down the street, she must be a very popular young lady. Did we learn anything new from that?
But what I'm wondering, just off of the being a popular lady being the last point that's made,
Yeah.
do we try and speak to
Social
Langdale
columnist.
Pike, the social columnist, who knows all the London society gossip? And also,
be
she's
good.
having to chat to all her friends.
Is it there?
Yes,
Yes.
it is there.
Delightful.
All right. I'm not a fan of the man myself, says Watson, as we enter the Societies Club. He is a strange, languid creature who makes a living from publishing all manner of scandal. But Holmes will not hear a bad word said about Langdale Pike. Finds him invaluable when gossip about the lives of London's upper class is required. It's Dr. Watson, says a pale, effete man, reclining on a chaise lounge in a bay window of the club, but no sign of Holmes. What brings you my way, Doctor, with your intriguing companions? Hello, Langdale, says Watson. I'm sure you have heard Holmes refer to the Baker Street Irregulars. Well, here they are, and we've come to ask about the Train family. We're investigating the kidnapping of their governess. Left tied and blindfolded on a street? Somewhere, wasn't she? Says Langdale. I must admit I rarely encounter the Trains. A fairly ordinary and highly respectable family as far as I am aware. Not my kind of thing at all. And not particularly well off either, unlike Lady Dunsworthy. Now she had a daughter worth kidnapping. Kenneth Train's uncle is Lawrence Yale, a man more to my tastes. In terms of his contribution to high society gossip, you understand, Yale is a known womanizer and owns racehorses. The wonderful Indian boy has been his real showstopper and, I may add, has made yours truly a bob or two in the past. And what about the other name you mentioned, asked Wiggins? The Dunsworthys. Yes, victims of the same gang of kidnappers, I believe. Well, Lord Dunsworthy died 3 years ago and left his wife a fortune. Mary's their only child. Quite a delightful thing and an out-and-out socialite, always on her way to or from some party or other, though I understand her social activities have decreased since her kidnapping. Thank you, Mr. Pike, says Wiggins. Watson gives a nod and we exit the club.
We want to figure
We
this
need
out.
some help, Sherlock.
Please.
As we approach the door of 221B Baker Street, He is thrust open. Holmes comes running out and stops a few feet from us. "Ah, Wiggins, Watson," he exclaims. "Sorry I could not meet our client. I was detained elsewhere." "We have started the investigation, Mr. Holmes, and Holmes cuts Wiggins off. "Excellent. Pray continue and let me know what you find. Determine whether the kidnapping was carried out by the gang who took Mary Dunsworthy. If not, who knew enough details to emulate it? I don't believe the press reported many facts. Also, consider Miss Sturton's habits and routine. Why was she taken and not some other governess? Now, I must leave you. My quarry is on the move." He runs past us and down the street to hail a cab, but then he stops and shouts back, "Oh, of course, Murray, the mud. It was relatively uncontaminated by marks of human activity, clearly from somewhere less travelled than our well-travelled streets." Then we have some circles where we can ask some more questions. Do you have circle C?
Yes.
Okay. Fascinating. What were the reasons one might partially smoke a cigar? You say you saw footprints, but no deep toe prints as one makes when running. So the person did not stop smoking the cigar because they were surprised. Then another reason. The smoker must have only had a brief taste of it. What other ones have you got circled?
We have F and L.
F. So Sir Colin Picksworth has just ordered a review of all the park buildings. Interesting. And there seem to be many of these small green boxes and regular reference to the West Indies. That is all Sherlock tells you before he rushes off.
I reckon it's a cigar trading. Something's going on.
Smuggling,
West
trading ring.
Something's happening here.
Smuggling.
Yeah.
You want me to
glaring.
give you some hints?
Yes, please.
Read through the Gunpowder magazine again,
Did we miss something?
and what Holmes is saying and what that else might lead to. They said something about tracks going somewhere.
Yeah.
95 north.
And it's like 4 or 5, I think.
95 northwest.
Yeah. So it's in.
To come back to the Gunpowder magazine, Watson had explained it's a gunpowder store, etc., etc. More than one, I think. The range of destruction, blah, 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 blah. Someone has visited. There are many shallow wheel tracks coming from the west. It looks like a small cart has made regular trips here over the past few months. And over here are men's footprints and a set of more recent wheel marks, wide and deep. And what's this? The cigarette. So
I see the map.
let's go back to the map.
From the west.
From the west.
Gunpowder magazine. Plant nursery.
Plant nursery.
Do we need to go to the plant
We
nursery?
Maybe
haven't
you
been
go
there
plant
yet.
nursery.
Just to see.
Shall we
what's
do
going on
that?
there? Yeah,
Also
just
plants,
quickly.
was there?
At the plant nursery, we wander amongst the greenhouses, noting many plants we recognise and many we don't. Some of the greenhouses are dedicated to varieties bought from all over the world. At the back is a small lodge, with a line of small carts outside. We knock and we get no answer, but the door is
The
unlocked.
sprinkler seated there.
The room on the
Look at
other
button.
side of the door contains some chairs and tables with an inkwell and blotting pad, a small
Miss
green
Pringle.
wooden box,
That's right, the
and a
mouse woman.
delivery list.
Oh,
Circle
mouse-woman.
the letter J.
I think they're growing tobacco or something. And making, maybe like the greenhouses. And
Like
then they're
an old
using-
school version
And
of.
then they're using
growing.
the Gunpowder magazine as like a warehouse. I don't know. And then they're selling them.
Like trade,
black
like illegal
market.
black market.
Wasn't there a black market guy?
This guy, 52.
He's going to tell us
is he?
information about what's going on. But there's
Yes.
definitely something going on with like illegal cigars.
All right. We have all known Porky Shinwell, what a name, landlord of the Raven and Rat Public House for some time. He is a huge, coarse man known for his cunning criminal mind and the time he spent in Parkhurst Prison. If Porky still has a wicked side to his character, we have been lucky enough to never see it, and to us he has always been jovial and welcoming. No mates, sorry, don't know anything about these kidnappings, he replies in response to our questions. Although, if it interests you, I have heard some interesting rumours of something going down recently. Mr. Holmes himself was in earlier, asking if I knew of any deals that had happened in the last few days. I told him one of my regulars, Toothy Ted, said he was approached last week to do a big deal of some kind. That's what Ted does, you see. He deals in stuff. Anything that hasn't come by the regular channels. He sat in there smoking cigars with some posh-looking gent for a while, talking it over. Pickwick. He didn't do the deal though, I don't know why. Any idea where we could find him, Porky? Asked Wiggins. No, sorry mate, though if I remember right, I think he used to work near Southwick Bridge. Well, with a name like Toothy Ted, laughs Tinker, I guess we need to look for a guy with a lot of teeth. He got that name because he used to be a dentist. He even invented his own toothpaste and got it into the chemists. I'm not sure anywhere stocks it anymore, mind, since not since people found out that what he was putting in it, circa the letter T.
So then we have to go back to Holmes.
Okay.
Which?
No, now we have to do the end game.
No!
Now, the players have been following a bunch of leads, trying to solve the mystery of the kidnapping, as well as what's happening with the Train family and what's happening with some other things that they've stumbled upon. I've had to cut them short just because of studio time, unfortunately. I think they probably could have played for a bit longer and explored the world of Victorian London, but for the interest of time, I have cut them short. So we're moving to endgame now. I've got a series of questions to see how they've gone with the case. First of all, who kidnapped Wendy?
The suspects seem to be the son and the daughter, or the daughter and her
Of Pickwick.
husband, of Pickwick.
Of Pickwick.
Yeah.
So
Grace and...
I think Grace is involved regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And then
I think
Could
it's
be the
probably
constable.
and the constable could be involved as well.
We need to come up with a final answer, though.
yeah, Grace and an accomplice.
It's Grace and Patrick.
Oh, so it was Patrick,
Yep.
the brother.
Yeah,
Okay.
brother. Yeah.
So why?
I reckon she might have seen something in Hyde Park that she wasn't supposed to see.
Stumbled on
When
the...
she-
That's
gone
the
to the-
only thing I can think of.
The gunpowder place where they've been storing the boxes, probably.
Yeah, because she wanders around there,
Spencer
remember?
Price and dropped the
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
That's it.
So she was kidnapped to prevent her from observing them doing an illegal deal at the old gunpowder magazine in Hyde Park. So you were close. So I'll give you that for the time limit. Constable Ponsford involvement.
He was a cover-up. He was keeping other people out of the way.
Yeah. And he's refused to swap that shift so
I
that he
reckon
can
Get
I think
say,
specifically.
no, nothing happened.
and then he would benefit from the deal in some way.
yeah.
So he was bribed by Grace and Patrick to ignore the deal. That's
Yep.
which was taking place during his morning shift on the 17th of November. So there you go. And finally, what was the deal being done?
I want to say something to do with cigars. Selling,
That
trading,
checks out.
selling
Yeah, there's something being imported.
something imported.
To avoid
Customs
taxes
or
or
Avoid
whatever.
tax.
Customs.
Oh, because they were going to do the cigar tax.
Yeah.
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 So what was being sold?
Cigars.
So a large stock of illegally imported, possibly stolen, high-quality cigars from the West Indies were being sold. So yes, very good. So the second series, who was the buyer in the deal?
I don't think we got to
I don't think we got
the depth of
that far to the buyer of it.
I'm going to say Amber & Co. Tobacconist.
Why
Yeah.
not?
There you
Because
go.
they stocked it. I
So-
don't know.
Amber & Co. is a respected cigar store. They would not buy illegal imported goods. As to the Ted suggested, it was Professor Moriarty.
Oh,
I was about to say that just to throw it out there. Be like,
Of course it was.
So those are the questions. So you've got some of those right. We've probably gone for a lot more leads than Sherlock has. So Holmes solved the case in 9 leads. So it took him 9 jumps to get there. So yes, beating the detective is quite the challenge. You haven't quite got everything, but you got quite a lot of it, and we're obviously cut for time. How did you find it?
It is really interesting, like the fact that I think we probably went off on a lot more tangents than what the like the ideal route, I guess, is. But it's lots of world building, lots of narrative, which is quite nice. Like I think this would be a lovely, like, you know, you could just sit there and just go through it in your own pace, not trying to rush for anything.
So that was the first case, the Curzon Street kidnapping in Sherlock Holmes, the Consulting Detective, the Baker Street Irregulars.